Manchester City give an injury blow ahead of Tottenham, but 2 players return. Manchester City can welcome Phil Foden and Rodri back to their squad for the Tottenham game, but are still missing 4. Rodri and Phil Foden are ready to feature against Tottenham after missing Manchester City's opening game of the Premier League campaign. The pair were sat in the stands for the 4-0 win at Molineux after a disrupted pre-season. Rodri was out for 6 weeks after the Club World Cup with a groin injury picked up against Al Hilal and has only started to train again with the squad in the last few weeks. Foden had looked sharp in pre-season but picked up a knock on his ankle before the pre-season game at Palermo this month and didn't travel with the squad for that win in Sicily. Guardiola said that they both could have featured at Wolves but were left out on account of being less fit than everyone else. After no more setbacks this week, they are available to face Spurs on Saturday. Rodri and Phil were out for the last game, but for just the reason of lack of training and rhythm. They didn't travel to Palermo, and the other guys had a whole pre-season doing that. They couldn't do 90 minutes, but they were ready, and they are ready for tomorrow, he said. I just want consistency from Rodri. I don't have any doubts about his potential. Still, so far, he is the best player in the world. In a few months, we will elect a new one. I don't have any doubts, but I just want consistency of training and games and minutes, and after everything will be fine. If those returns will boost City and put more pressure on the squad with competition for places, with 2 needing to be left out if Foden and Rodri return, the Blues will still be without 4 players for their first Premier League home game. Savinho is still described as injured amid transfer interest from Spurs. Mateo Kovacic is out until October after his Achilles surgery. Marcus Bettinelli picked up an injury in pre-season and Josko Gvardiol remains out. The Croatian had been seen training this week, but it is still too early for him to come back. Clear examples. Manchester City ready for more departures in transfer window. Manchester City have already sent some of their most promising talent off on loan, and more are expected to go. This month, Manchester City are expected to loan out more of their promising young talent before the end of the transfer window. It has been a busy summer for the Blues across all teams, and the first team business is far from done. Galatasaray are looking to sign Manu Akanji and Ederson, while reports in recent days have also cast doubt on İlkay Gündoğan's future. There is also work to be done in the academy, where a number of youngsters are looking to secure temporary moves away from the Etihad after helping the under-21s to top their league and then win the knockout competition last year. Jamai Simpson, Pusey Celtic, Max Alleyne Watford and Divin Mubama Stoke have already gone, but under-21s coach Ben Wilkinson reckons more will follow in the next few weeks. There's a few who have already gone, and hopefully a few more from last year's team will go, he said. Last year for me, there were clear examples of players who were ready to play by the end of the season, and there were some close behind on their coattails who are probably the next ones to go. That ultimately is the biggest aim, to try to transition players from this team to first team football, whether that be someone like a Nico O'Reilly last year who featured a lot with us at the start of the season to a Jamai Max or Devin. They hopefully will have the opportunity to go and play elsewhere with the idea of proving themselves, and they have the opportunity to come back here or play at that level for the rest of their careers. Ashton Muir, Jaden Heskey and Charlie Gray are among the more experienced members of the under-21 squad that have been linked with moves this summer. But there could be other departures. City will also be expected to secure moves for Kian Breckin, Mahamadou Sissoko and Jadel Katongo after the trio spent last season on loan. City under-21s lost their opening game of the season with a 3-1 defeat at Chelsea on Monday night. They take on West Ham at the Joy Stadium on Friday, looking to pick up their first victory as defending champions. Savinho, Akanji, Donnarumma, Rodrigo, Manchester City, transfer latest as window hots up. Manchester City are set for a busy final 12 days of the transfer window. Manchester City remain active in the transfer market as we head into the final 12 days of the transfer window. The Blues have strengthened significantly this summer, striking early deals for Rayan Cherki, Rayan Aitnouri and Tijani Reinders before adding James Trafford later in the window. It is now exits that are dominating the agenda at the Etihad, with City boss Pep Guardiola keen to trim down his squad. City have sent talented teenager Sverre Nypan to Middlesbrough on a season-long loan, while a move has been agreed with Claudio Echeverri set to join Bayer Leverkusen on a similar deal. But it is the senior squad where Guardiola would like to see further exits. Here's the City latest. Goalkeeper Ederson missed the weekend win over Wolves through illness amid speculation linking him with a move to Galatasaray. That scenario has been rumbling on all summer, and it remains uncertain as to whether the Brazilian will leave the Etihad before September 1st. If he does depart, City are primed to sign PSG outcast Gianluigi Donnarumma to compete with new arrival Trafford for the number 1 spot. That would represent a complete overhaul of the goalkeeping department, with Stefan Ortega expected to leave having fallen down the pecking order, while veteran Scott Carson departed earlier in the summer, with Marcus Bettinelli arriving. Tottenham are keen on the Brazil international, who also missed the win at Wolves and has been training individually amid an injury that Guardiola says will sideline him for a few weeks. If the right offer arrives for Savinho, and if the player wants to take it, the deal happens. Spurs have already approached City for their Brazilian winger and remain interested, but a deal is unlikely to happen in the coming days, given Tottenham are at the Etihad on Saturday, while City will stand firm in their valuation of the 21-year-old, and the Blues would want more than £50 million, and would likely seek a figure in the region of £60 million to part with a player they only signed a year ago. His exit could pave the way for City to move for Real Madrid star Rodrigo, who is seemingly surplus to requirements in the Spanish capital. Galatasaray are considering a move for City defender Manu Akanji. It isn't clear if Akanji would be open to the move, and, as shown with Galatasaray's interest in Ederson, an acceptable offer for City has to be on the table before a transfer can really get going. However, it is a developing situation for the final 2 weeks of the window, especially since Guardiola reiterated at the weekend that players need to leave. The 30-year-old has made 136 appearances for City, with 118 of them starts, and has won 2 Premier League titles, as well as the iconic treble in 2022/23. The Club World Cup would follow. Manchester City make Rico Lewis transfer decision after fresh Pep Guardiola talks. Rico Lewis had been offered a transfer to Nottingham Forest in the summer window and has now made up his mind after speaking to Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola. Rico Lewis is set to snub Nottingham